So here's my contact information, and it'll be up at the end as well. But as I said, as I always say, rather, feel free to ask any questions, and the only bad question is the one that you don't ask. So anything. I'm hopefully I cover a little bit here, or hopefully I've covered everything that you might have questions. I visited with students in the past, and everybody's had great questions, even so much as housing. So I've added things like that in there as well. And like I said, please feel free to contact me. There's my phone number and email address. Probably right now, email address is better to get a hold of me. But otherwise, you can also click on the link on the bottom of the page here too with the Morrisville Ford Asset homepage. And that's just going to outline pretty much exactly what I'm going to talk about today, as well as it'll have my contact information too. So it's all the same stuff. So the question is asked, do you love working on cars? And if you've had the cool factor, this new GT here, the picture's been added here to entice you, to get you interested. I myself have never sat in a GT. I am incredibly jealous of my students because I have a bunch of students that have actually not only sat in them, but they've driven them, they've worked on them. So you have to have that love for vehicles. I've always said a good mechanical aptitude and the right attitude, and we can turn you into a good tech. So yeah, do you like working on these cars? I would say yeah, absolutely. You know, they might come in for maintenance, they might come in because they're broken, but either case, your butt's in the seat. So like I said, that you're the Ford tech, you're the one that's working on it, you're the one that's servicing it. So yeah, you do get to drive these pretty cool cars. Among other cars, although they don't make it anymore, the the Focus RS, 350 horsepower, 2.3 liter, 4-cylinder, all-wheel drive thing is a rocket ship. Pretty cool car. Again, students get to drive it. I don't get to drive that one as well. So boohoo for me, right? So, but yeah, we like I said, you kind of got to be a car person to work on cars, but other people say you don't. Like I said, I repeat myself a lot, but there has to be some interest in working on cars. So it's start with something that you love, start with something that you enjoy, and turn it into a career. So I let all these bullet points load before I started talking. So the 21st century automotive tech, and hard to wrap my head around sometimes because I joke about it. You already met me with me picking on myself. But yeah, I'm 50 years old. I've been in the industry for over 30 of it, and started my career at before even my career, but my journey, if you will, at Morrisville. I started in 1988. I'm a member of the class of '90 from Morrisville. At that point, it was Morrisville College. Now we call ourselves SUNY Morrisville. Same place, same buildings, same location. But then, which I'll show you later on, our auto building. I correct myself, actually. The auto building is now facilities are up on the hill here, and we're the diamond on the hill. If you've ever had a chance to be up here or drive by at night, it's pretty cool. So yeah, graduated in '90. Uh, Turned wrenches for a little over 17 years, as I mentioned, and I love technology. I still enjoy working on cars. Maybe I could say love working on cars, but I do truly like technology. I do still enjoy working on cars. I still do this for fun. I do my job. I come in, I teach, we do labs, and then I actually must still work on cars and mess around with the cars in my free time. So I guess I could still call that a hobby, if you will. I have a incredibly uh, uh, inquisitive mind, if you will. So I love solving mechanical problems. I'm not a puzzle guy so much, but back in the day, I could solve a Rubik's cube. You could hand it to me. I could probably do the first layer. Now that's about it. But I really do love solving, enjoy the challenge, if you will, of this the mechanical issues when the car comes in. And that was one of the things that I do miss now being in education instead of the in dealership life is the challenge of knowing that you have no idea what's coming in the door, and every day it's going to be something different that's in your bay. And I really truly miss that challenge. For me, I still have different stuff. As of me recording this video, it's May of, well, just turned May, in 2020, and I'm sure I'll update these videos later on in life too. But May 2020, we're just going through a large shutdown. As you guys watching this, and guys and girls, apologies, guys and girls watching and viewing this video, uh, we're locked down. So this is a new challenge for me. We're actually going to try to do this this open house, virtual open house and discussion of the program. So back to the point at hand. But yeah, solving mechanical problems. Or even computer problems, as I'm doing right now, and the fact that I can't come visit you in person this year, and helping people. That's really weird when you say this. Like, well, I'm not helping people. I'm working on their cars. Remember, sometimes we take it for granted. Automobiles and cars and trucks. We get in and we turn the key, it starts. But think of a especially Ford dealership. Think of that F-350 that's a rescue vehicle. Think of that ambulance chassis. Think of the food delivery person, the hospital personnel. And again, it's rolling into what's going on right now, current times. But even after this is all over and done with the whole COVID-19 stuff, think about some people, many people, most people absolutely rely on their car and truck and their vehicles to get around. So if you're that person that's able to help them and get their vehicle running again, then yeah, you're helping people. And I know it's really weird and it sounds like I'm puffing it up so much, but yeah, pretty good profession to get into. Like I said, I did it for a long time. I really enjoyed it, and just decided to start teaching as a different challenge for me. And again, that's their challenge thing. So, not saying that you couldn't do that as well. I often say to myself, I'm sorry, say to myself, yeah, but I say to groups when I'm doing tours and we have true open houses, if I could go back, or if there was ability to go back and tell my 18-year-old self that, 30 something, 20 something years from now, you're going to be standing in front of people, you're going to be teaching people, and you're going to be a teacher. Now I'm a professor even, so I can, if you can't see me, but I'd be straightening my tie right now going, Professor Akers. But yeah, I would say no way. There's no flipping way that I am going to be a teacher. I want to work in cars the rest of my life. Well, opportunities change. Things happen. And we'll talk about some other opportunities in a little bit too. I have some other stuff in my slides here. So this demand, as you're seeing the slide as it rolled in, this demand, it was a few years ago, one of the managers that I answered to at Ford said to me, in 15 years, 50%, so 15 years, 50%, 50, that's half. Half of the technicians and dealerships are going to be leaving because, like, not unlike myself, career changes or even retiring. So think about that, 50%. Now, we're not talking about, 10 or 20 people. We're talking about, thousands of people. So there's going to be this vacuum, if you will, of students leaving the students, sorry, misspoke there, of faculty training students, educating students, and then this vacuum is going to be pulling you students in. Again, whether it's entry-level positions or you go on to other higher up positions as far as specialization and things like that. But the demand for techs is huge right now, and it's only going to get bigger. And again, right now, I say right now, again, apologies. I know we're in tough situations, but this is going to come around again, and we know that the industry is going to bounce back. It has to. People didn't get rid of their cars. We still have cars. We still have the need to get around. As I mentioned, how you're going to use your skills, if you will, that you learn, that you have, that mechanical aptitude I mentioned. But a technician is extremely valuable in the dealership. And like I said, I know we can all read, but I don't mean to read the slides for you. But techs, we have service writers that talk to customers as well. But sometimes the tech might have that direct connection with the customer to again, talk to them. They need you. They need your skill to make sure that their vehicle is running correctly and safely and driving down the road safely. So that's on you. And that's why, as of right now, and I often speak of this as off too, is for the most part, health services and fixing things can't be done from a call center or overseas. I mean, they could walk you through and maybe hitting a button or like resetting your computer or trying to have you do things like that. But you have to be in person to put your hands on the car to fix it. And so that's why it's really important to understand that your position is carries some weight, carries some value to the dealership and to the customers also. So no kidding, as these were popping up. I have a graduate. Let me see. He's class of 2016. I had to do the math in my head for a second there. Class of 2016. When he graduated, 2 years later, he was already just a few dollars shy of $75,000. Now, understand where we are in Morrisville. We're in the middle of the state. And so some of you, I'm sending this video out to a bunch of people all over the place, or this presentation, I should say. And so we're not talking about big city or cost of living. This is a student that lives in the Syracuse area. Cost of living is quite reasonable. And about $75,000. Now he earned his money. Nobody handed him that money. He went in the morning, did his work, went home at night, and put in his hours, put in the hard work, and but understand that even at a tech in smaller areas, you can still make great money. Now I can't speak for New York City and Long Island. I can tell you cost of living is higher, so your hourly rate's going to be higher anyways. But there are a few diesel techs in our area that were making darn near close to $100,000 a year. That's a lot of money. I don't know if you knew that or not, but I'll tell you that is a lot of money. Myself as an instructor, that's more than I make. And so, like I said, I chose this career just because I wanted to a different challenge a bunch of years ago. But yeah, the potential is there to earn a ton of money. So think about that for a second. If you like working on cars, and I know I've said this already, if you're interested, you've got that mechanical mindset, you got that inquisitive, want to fix things, want to know what's wrong with things, want to know how things work. So you can turn that thing that you kind of like to do into a career that pays really well. Drives me crazy. And doesn't matter. I apologize if a guidance counselor is watching this video, but welcome aboard too. But it drives me crazy. Not every guidance counselor. So please don't hear me speaking so generally. But I've heard students come to me and say, "Well, my guidance counselor kind of wanted to talk me out of working on cars because only stupid people work on cars." That's just not true anymore. This industry needs intelligent people that have a head on their shoulders, have the ability to think on their own, have the ability to, or have a good head on their shoulders, and have the ability to have this critical thinking that they need for diagnosing and repairing things. And of course, then, like I said, you go back to the mechanical end of it as well. But so don't let people talk you out of it. And I say anybody, whether it's mom and dad, aunt and uncle, somebody, don't let people talk you out of it. This is a very lucrative career to get into. And with minimal investment on your time. In 2 years, you're graduated and you're out working. So stop and think about that. Like I said, there's my title there. It says it's a solid career path. So I'll leave this picture up there. I'm not going to walk you through the whole thing, but think of this basically as some of my students go in as quick lane for their first year while they're students here at their internships, and then when they graduate, then they're put on as service techs. Then eventually, which I'll talk about later in one of my videos that pops up, but the senior master tech, stuff like that, shop foreman shop manager, maybe service director, stuff like that. So although rare, I don't think that I'm not going to make this promise of that you can go to college and then become a dealer principal and owner and things like that. I would never go that far. But if you're really strongly driven, you really could. So, but don't hear me as promising you that, come to Ford Asset and you'll be owning a dealership. I want to make sure that that's understood. That's not the case. But again, 13 years ago when I left the dealership as the working shop foreman. So I was a tech. I still turned wrenches, but then I also helped other techs. I went for test drives with customers. I was another liaison to the service writer to communicate information back and forth from the techs, to seek out them for information and updates. The tech that is. So yeah, you're going to start at the bottom. You're going to pay your dues. You're going to work your way up. And there's no reason in the world, if you're not able and capable and intelligent and act and carry yourself intelligently, that you couldn't make your way up to foreman. And I have known several technicians that have made their way to service manager as well. And you want to talk about easier job, maybe, but then you got the stress of the customers yelling at you instead. So, with that comes the rewards of the pay. But service director, possibly on the way up, that's service directors basically, they can oversee like the body shop and service and parts and things like that. So those career opportunities are there, but not tomorrow. Those are further down the road, years later, after you've been in the dealership for a while and you've proven yourself and your value. So as I mentioned in my little intro video, Ford has been in this for a long time now. The asset program, I think, has been around for over, I want to say it's 25 years. I don't know the exact numbers. I apologize on this, but they've been around for over 25 years. And we've had a program now at Morrisville for over 20 years. And as I said, I'm in my 13th year. I'm just finishing my 13th year. And so I've had the honor, the awesomeness of being involved in this program that long. But Ford is committed, and when I say committed to this, I mean they send us vehicles, which I'll show you, a couple of vehicles here and there in our shops. But we have a fleet of over 17 vehicles. But they send us vehicles. They train me. They train Mr. Miller, and so that gives me the opportunity to then train you folks and educate you and turn you into great techs. So Ford has great training. They have a technical hotline. Then they have some other online stuff that we would talk about when we were students here, but there's electronic, they basically keep a database of every car that's ever made with the programming. And then if you need to, you can go in and get these programming and updates and service updates. And then also obviously the technician recognition programs I talked about with, well, some of you folks are ACE classes and schools, and then also the senior master tech. I just saw in recent weeks one of the ACE schools had a student that was able to do every one of his certifications. I believe they gave him a toolbox. Now, I'm not promising you a toolbox because I think he was the first one ever. So there's some notoriety in saying that. But I thought that was pretty cool because the ACE program's only been around for a couple years now, give or take. And so Ford is there with recognizing their master techs and their senior master techs. And that's a thing. It really is, and it's nice to know that you're doing your job, you're fixing the cars. That's your career, that's your job. But the fact that Ford is also saying, hey, thanks for doing that, and by the way, here's some cool stuff. Sometimes it's simple plaques, and sometimes later on in life they did some giveaways and some travel and things like that as well. So things to think about. So Ford started this campaign a number of years ago, and it said this could be your classroom, and it's actually quite true. What this this isn't a picture of Morrisville's automotive lab. This is a picture of a dealership. This is just a general dealership. Looks like a relatively newly built dealership, but the idea is, I always talk about is, we have 14-week semesters. And so you'll go to your co-ops working at your dealership, and we call it a sponsoring dealer. And again, there's some video of myself talking later around in this presentation. We have sponsoring dealerships, and by sponsoring, they're agreeing to take you on as a student. So this can be your classroom. In other words, you're going to learn at the dealership. Now, of course, there's some good things and some bad things, and there's always, it's funny I say this because my name is Dan, but there's always that one Danny Downer at the dealership. Oh, you need to get out of here, run away when you can. It drives me crazy when they're doing that. If they're not happy, then they're just not a happy employee. And so there's nothing I can do to fix that. But I have a number of very happy, successful students turning wrenches at dealerships, and have been doing this now, since I started, and after they graduated, and so don't always listen to the guy that's talking down about working on cars. And I'm not. This isn't a Ford thing. This is a industry thing. Cars need to get fixed. We need people to fix the cars. And so, like I said, yeah, keep that in the back of your head. So yeah, this is your classroom. Your classroom is a dealership. Your classroom is my classroom. Your classroom is my labs, the labs here. But yeah, you'll learn a lot too. You'll get hopefully connected with a good mentor at the shop. Sometimes we've had some students that have they've showed that they are strong enough to work on their own. We've had other students students at the dealerships that were still strong students, but still had a very strong mentor. And it's amazing in the 2 years that I see these students, how much they evolve from young, inexperienced, I'm saying with a smile on my face, but scared teenagers into competent, well-educated technicians. And I love seeing that. And so with this co-ops, working in your off time between semesters, tremendous learning opportunity to supplement the education that you're getting here at the college. So you can go to, let's talk about but we can go to New Ford Tech, and you can learn about these other Ford programs. So Ford has what they call TCEP, Technical Career Entry Programs, and they have number of other programs if you want to explore it on the New Ford Tech site. There's a link to it coming up in a page or so. But I want to point out that the program that I want to talk about is the Ford Asset Program, the Automotive Student Service Education Training. That's the Ford Asset Program. That's what we have here at SUNY Morrisville. So I want to talk about more exclusively about this one. But again, if you're welcome to explore the other programs, I want to talk about the program that we have. So Ford put together some slides for me, and I'm using them. And I added a couple myself. But these are sometimes the questions that get asked when myself and Mr. Miller, we go to visit other schools, I should say other high school level schools. And so Ford Asset Program is the only program that has a required hands-on experience in dealership. So, and going to school at the same time. I want to correct myself because it's not the only program anymore, but it is a strong program that it's established. So we have hands-on experience at the dealership, and you're going to the school as well, earning your degree and learning and earning your Ford training. So you're going to get a 2-year degree in automotive technology. I had that. As I said, obviously I've had to get more education, if you will, and also more technical training, but more education to keep my job here as an educator. But yeah, when you're done here, you will graduate with a 2-year degree in automotive technology, like anybody else would have if they went to school. But then also, you're going to have this specialty training because, as I mentioned, Mr. Miller and myself are factory trained trainers. That sounds right, factory trained trainers. And so we can also deliver the specialized Ford content and give you that special Ford training. So our labs are dedicated to just Fords. We don't have any other vehicles in here. I'm sorry, Ford and Lincoln. And so we specialize in just that. And so therefore, when you're done, which is coming up, you'll get your option to earn your other Ford certifications. And here they are. This list it looks maybe small, looks maybe big, but this is what basically we cover in the 4 semesters that you're here. So it says 2 years, but you're here for, we start in August, we bring a classroom in. Your break typically starts in May. Of course, we have winter break as well, from December and January, typically 4 to 5 weeks off in the wintertime. And then we take a break, actually say you take a break from school in end of April, May-ish, depending on when the semester starts. And then you come back in August again. So between your freshman and sophomore year, that is the longest time that you're going to work. But when you're here, these are credentials that you're going to learn, that you're going to earn, that we're going to teach. And basically, these are the same. This is kind of the courses that we talk about. We don't do a specific new model training in our curriculum, but it is built into the Ford training when you're doing some web-based training. And again, some of you ACE classes, you've already been exposed to the Ford web-based training, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. But basically, there is the classroom component, there's the lab component, and then there's also the Ford web-based training that is a site that is run and administered by Ford. And you log in and then you take this training, and then along with a hands-on component, a test, you prove yourself academically, then you prove yourself mechanically with your hands in the lab. I check off a box set, and you're issued this credential. So something to consider, because regular automotive program, I don't mean to put it down, because I'm a graduate of the program. All you get is your associate degree. In the Ford program, you get your associate degree and all these credentials. So you're thinking to yourself, what's the big deal? Well, the big deal is you're saving the dealership between $60,000-$80,000, because if they had to send you away to get all these credentials and this training, huge amount of money, loss of productivity, your bay's empty. They got to still pay you. They've got to send you away. They've got to give you a car, maybe even fly you, pay for your food, pay for your lodging. Sometimes the training might cost them money as well. So in the course of all these certifications, it's depending on the dealership location and the cost of living and their hourly rate that they charge customers, this can be a tremendous amount of money. So in one of my intro videos, I mentioned that that's what makes you folks so desirable, because yeah, you're going to have that associate degree. That's huge. But then also this little extra feather in your hat is you've got your credentials boxed off too, or checked off too. And so that's huge. That's really a big deal. At least in my opinion it is. And so it is with Ford, and it is with dealers. So how long is it going to take? I get asked that. That's easy. 4 semesters, provided you stay on track, provided you do your work. Because remember, this is an associate degree, so there's also Englishes and math and sciences, and then some electives as well. And so if you come in ready to rock, I use that expression too much sometimes, but you come in knowing that this is your job here for a while. It is your education, and then also obviously your internships, your co-op at your dealerships. But it's a 4 semesters, and so you alternate between breaks, as I mentioned. We have fall semester, winter break, you're working at the dealership. Spring semester, summer break, working at your dealership. Same thing repeated next year. But the difference is you graduate in May, you don't have to go back to work in the summer. Although, as I mentioned, it works typically, my students finish their required work period with the dealerships, and it typically turns into full-time employment. I mean, why wouldn't, it's an extended 2-year job interview. Prove yourself, prove your value, and yeah, they hire you on. As I think I mentioned, or maybe it's in a video coming up, I do have a few students that did not go onto the dealerships or not stay at their dealerships, because they actually decided they got their 4-year degree, but they worked with they now work for corporate Ford. And I have a couple of students that actually, one person's in Michigan, the other one's in actually New York State area right now. But both of them, we're very proud of them. They did very well. They've been very successful. But they're working for corporate Ford, so that's why I always say I can't say 100%, because, well, they took other career paths because the asset program afforded that opportunity. So I get asked this one too: where am I going to stay? Well, there's a oh, I just noticed a typo. Pardon me. I'm not even going to fix it. I'm going to leave it up there. There are many housing options for all the students. So yeah, you can commute. If you're local to the Morrisville area, I have several commuters this year in my sophomore class. You can stay on campus. We have tons of dorm rooms on campus. That was a tongue twister apparently. But yeah, lots of dorm rooms. And then we also have what's called the commons. So the dorm rooms are just exactly what you think it is. It's a room. Typically you share it with 2 people in a room. Typically there are some larger ones that are 3 people, but typically you have a roommate, and they usually pair you up with other similar like-minded people, automotive. But my roommate was in the arborist program, so we used to call him the tree guy. But and again, we lifelong friends. I still talk to him literally in person, over the phone. I still talk to him after 30 years after graduating. I still talk with him. So the on-campus housing, like I said, regular dorm rooms where you have your own little private room, and then you have a shared bathroom, shared showers. You're not like in locker rooms in school, high school, where you have your own private shower. But then housing also has some place to eat. So we have food dining facilities on campus, and 3 meals a day you're allowed. And then the other version is the Commons, which has a common shared area of like a dining room and a kitchen, but you have your own private room, you by yourself. So that's why we call it or that's why it's referred to as the Commons. They bounce up and down with the rules. At first, freshmen were not allowed to be in the Commons, but I do believe you can be in the Commons because it is more of a private setting, no different than if you were like in a hospital with a private room or shared room. There's a little higher expense to be in the Commons because although you share a living room, you share the kitchen, you have your own private area. So, but it kind of works out. The costs about the same ish, I should say ish. And then there's also off-campus housing, and this is a fine area, a fine line to cross because I I don't know, how do you say this? I still think that students, freshmen, shouldn't be off-campus housing. But if you're commuting, of course you are off campus. But you just need the first. This is your first time away from mom and dad or grandma, grandpa, however your living arrangements were, and this is your first time in college that you're actually going to be allowed to make your own decisions. I know we think we have decisions now, but mom and dad, or again, whoever's watching over you, we guide you. We do. I'm a parent. I've got 2 kids. I've got 2 teenagers myself as of me recording this, and so yeah, those we want you to do well. This is the first time that you're not going to have 24-hour contact and supervision. So the off-campus housing, sometimes I just don't see that there's a value to it for an incoming young freshman. Lots of opportunities to do other things on campus or off campus, I should say, and I won't get into those details. But like I said, they are what they are. It's part of the college experience. But I always, when we meet with students in person, I tell them it'd be better to live on campus if you have the, if you're not a commuter, it'd be better to live on campus. And should you decide to do off campus, I would wait till my 3rd and 4th year semester if you were going to do that. Cost wise, it comes out to be about the same. It sounds like a great idea. Maybe you can get some roommates and things like that. But again, I don't want to spend too much time on this. Understand that you can live on campus. You can live on campus with the commons or the dorm. You can live off campus. Again, probably not right away as a freshman. And then you can also commute. So there's what you're going to do when you're staying here. We do have all those options. So I mentioned it. These credentials that we have that we issue, they are the exact same ones that the Ford and Lincoln service techs receive as well. I myself I go to the same training that the techs do. I can't train myself, so I have to go away to school, Ford school, if you will, the Ford training. And so I've traveled all over the place to Boston and Albany area, down towards New York City and Yonkers area. But I traveled to get all this training so that I'm current, so that I can issue these credentials, as you see here, to my students. And but I have the same training that the auto techs have, and then I am able to give that training then to the students. So Ford has put together this website for the TSEP programs, the technical career entry programs. It's called newfordtech.com. Again, there's a link there. You're very welcome to click on it. But explore a little bit, and our school is listed in there, and then you can read about the other programs as well. But why would you? Because you want to come to Fort Asset at SUNY Morrisville, of course. But yeah, so there's the link for that for their actual site. Now this is also the entry page for my current students, and as you can see down there in the bottom corner. You can either be interested in being involved in the program, but if you are a current student, this is the gateway, if you will. So my students will log in here. They have passwords, usernames and passwords that I've issued. And then this is the keys to the castle, as one of my coworkers used to say. And this will get you into the web-based training that I talked about. And then it will also get you into your for the service information as well. So while you're a student here, you will have access to 100% of the service information that a dealer personnel would have as well. So I know some of the ACE schools, you guys have access to some of this as well. And so this continues on that access. So we have for training, web access, and then obviously if you're not logged in, you can also just explore around and find other schools, other programs if you wish to explore the other stuff. So Ford and the career entry programs do have a social media presence. Obviously, my kids pick on me because I'm old, so we use Facebook. Some younger people still use Facebook. They have an Instagram page, and then there's a Twitter page as well. All three of them, they're posting different pictures. Hey, such and such just got their Ford Master Tech. Congratulations. So, but know that in either case, they're all at New Ford Tech. So you can search around and look them up. You can like them. You can subscribe. The usual stuff, and follow them along. I currently do not, as me saying this, my kids have encouraged me to get a better social media presence than I do now. So who knows, in the future I'll be sending to the instructors, and you guys can find me. And I want to close with, again, a thank you. This is weird. I'm not going to lie. We've had to switch to online for our content delivery for my students. We've had to switch to online for open houses. We've had to switch to online for talking with our students, talking with potential future students, and showing them the program and the facilities. So this is a weird thing. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it. It's quite weird. But my contact information is there. Please, if you have a question, you can have your teacher get a hold of me. You can get a hold of me. There's my email address, and there's my phone number. And again, you can call, leave messages. I will answer as quickly as I can. And if it's something that I don't know the answer to, I will find out the answer for you and either answer you back or put you in touch with someone who does know the answer. But also, please take a look and click on the link to our website. And also, you can nose around a little on the entire Morrisville website as well. Explore other things, including some student activities and what you can do other than just coming here for school. So again, thanks everybody for your time. Like I said, I'm looking, it's only about 40 minutes worth of presentation plus my couple-minute video. So I wanted to keep you not too much to put you to sleep, but keep you involved and talk a little about the program. Obviously, you can tell I do truly enjoy talking and telling people about this program. Really valuable as far as the student experience and the value of what bang for your buck as far as coming to school and then getting the training, and then also the connections you make with dealerships as well, with Ford and Lincoln dealers. So again, thanks for your time, everybody.